So we've seen this a lot lately in the markets, Mike, and it's really sort of shaken people up a bit. And it's market volatility. And I always think of, when I think of volatile times in the markets or just in life in general, my mind always kind of goes back to the old British poster during World War II, the keep calm and carry on, that's become sort of famous over the last several years here. But that saying, keep calm and carry on, really kind of is the rule of the day when it comes to market volatility, because it can be pretty unsettling.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to, protect your sanity more than anything, as well as your savings, you can do things in order to shield and protect, especially when you're already retired or you're in the retirement red zone, which is, the 10 years before and the 10 years immediately in. Sudden market drops can force you to, overreact, and maybe you sell investments at a loss, which jeopardizes your long-term financial security. And the key is preparation and adopting different strategies that will help safeguard and shield your savings.
That's right. And I think one of the biggest things that people maybe neglect, because they're so focused on, I'm going to invest or I'm going to save and I'm going to build up this one big nest egg number that they sort of have in their head. They don't really invest for income. So that's one big strategy I think that people really need to keep in mind, because income is paramount in retirement.
It is. And here's the sad reality. Most of the people, and I know if you're watching me on YouTube, you'll see my hand gestures. But if you're not watching me on YouTube and you're listening to me, go look up this episode, because when you're working, you're making this right here. And what happens is when you retire, all that income is now gone. Okay. You'll get a little bit of it replaced with Social Security. If you're fortunate enough to have, a pension, you'll get a little bit more, but there's still a gap between where you were and where you find yourself in retirement from an income standpoint. So you should definitely consider building your retirement plan around your need for retirement income. And we recommend planning for the income sources like Social Security. I always say my clients will have that as a cherry on top and not the primary source, right? We want to plan around other things if you're fortunate enough to have a pension. If you've created a personal pension for yourself, which guess what, folks, that is an actual possibility and a reality for all of my clients. If you have rental income, any of those things that generate guaranteed sources of income in retirement, you need to protect with your life.
Absolutely 100% correct. And then number two, sort of strategy here that we want to highlight is, perhaps that, you mentioned personal pensions. Well, you can build yourself your own personal pension using something called an annuity. And it really does provide a lot of stability as well.
Yeah, annuities got a really bad rap probably 20 years ago because they were your grandfather's, annuities where you would give an insurance company your hard-earned dollars, and then they would charge you a fee to give you your money back. And then when you died, they kept your money. Well, guess what, folks? There are, annuities that are completely opposite of that now, that can offer a reliable lifetime income stream, which will protect you from having to sell assets in any type of market downturn. Some annuities even, provide the guarantee of knowing that you'll have that for the rest of your life as far as income is concerned, which means you'll never outlive your savings, and still offer you liquidity from a lump sum cash standpoint, and the money still passes to named beneficiaries. I mean, why would you not place a protective floor on your hard-earned retirement savings, knowing that come hell or high water, you won't drop below this level of income? That, to me, is just smart planning, Matt.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, given uncertainty, if you're, going through volatile times in the markets, which they will happen because there are market cycles, and the market goes up, the market goes down, and it can do, have these bumps along the road in between. But the thing is, if you want some guarantees, if you want some stability, which you should have for at least a portion of what you've got invested, make sure that you have that stability, make sure that you have that floor. So, as you say, come hell or high water, no matter what, you're at least going to have that. And that is a guarantee based on, of course, the claims paying ability of that particular issuer. And I know, Mike, that you work with the top rated issuers of annuities like we're talking about.
Yeah, I do. It just gives people peace of mind. I mean, confidence knowing that no matter what the market throws at them, all right, no matter what China is doing with Taiwan, no matter what Russia is doing with the Ukraine, no matter what Israel is doing with Gaza, no matter what is going on in our White House, right? It doesn't matter. Your money is protected. Your income is protected. And people that have that protected income stream in retirement, they walk with their shoulders a little bit back because they're able to strut a little bit, knowing that that income is never going to be messed with.
Head held high and all. Love that. All right. So number 3 strategy here to sort of navigate through volatile times you want to talk about. It sort of sounds like it's a complicated thing, but it's really kind of not. But we call it time segmented bucketing. So what does that mean, Mike? Break that down in plain English for our listeners, if you would.
So time segmented just means, hey, when am I going to need the money? Am I going to need short-term cash, mid-term cash, long-range cash, right? So divide your assets based on when you're going to need them. Your money that you need for the short term, those should be in very conservative investments and on hand, basically, as like cash in the bank or in a money market fund. While long-term growth funds, things that you're not planning on touching for at least 15 years, guess what? There's enough time to withstand any market downturn because, as you mentioned, markets are cyclical. So even if it drops, it's going to still come back and come back with a vengeance because it allows you to just be a little bit more aggressive in the market.
Yeah, and that's what history has shown us really is that markets do go down, but what goes down must come up in the markets. That's the rule, and that's what we've learned over the years, the decades here. And then number 4, tax efficient withdrawals. These are so important because, if you have all of your eggs in one taxable basket, like your 401k or your IRA or whatever, then you could be, just waiting for this big retirement tax bomb like we talked about last week. You could be waiting for that to just go off in retirement. You could be very surprised by how much gets taken away by Uncle Sam.
Yeah, I mean, you have a partner in retirement. If all your money, like most Americans, most of their money is tied up in tax deferred accounts, especially their 401ks, 403bs, and IRAs. So coordinating withdrawals from both taxable, tax exempt, as well as tax deferred accounts will help you minimize taxes, and it'll stretch your savings even further. And, oftentimes taxes in retirement can seem extremely complex, and that is why it's so important to plan ahead for what will come. And if you have a plan going into that, again, peace of mind, you cannot put a price tag on it.
Right. Absolutely priceless. And if you go to moneymatterswithmike.com, that's moneymatterswithmike.com, or you call Mike Zano at the number 704-560-1573. Again, that's 704-560-1573. You can get in touch, schedule a free consultation. And Mike, what do you do then when people give you a call, when they go to the website, maybe reach out there? What do you do when you meet with them and then you take a look at their portfolio and their assets?
Yeah, I mean, the first call we're going to have is more of a discovery call, right? You're going to ask me some questions. I'm going to ask you some questions. It's kind of the get to know each other. And then we'll, decide whether or not we need to have a full consultation. And at that point in time, I'm going to ask you things like, what is your vision for retirement? Tell me about your financial goals. We will obviously take a look at your current plan if you have one. And if you don't, we will look at what you have from an asset standpoint. Then we can walk you through what our retirement plan and recommended plan might be for what it is that you bring to the table. And as always, we will answer as many questions that you have until you understand. And I think that is the important part. A lot of advisors out there, they like to make themselves seem like the smartest person. And when you're talking to them, you feel like a minion. Well, I don't operate that way. I want you to understand why I'm recommending what I'm recommending, because from an education standpoint, when you understand the why, it just